Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's live on Sampoorna Ahara. So, we love talking about different topics when it comes to health, wellness, nutrition, diet, and lifestyle. And today we are talking about something that's a highly requested video. We keep getting questions from people about this, and it's about healthy snacks for kids. I think as parents, many of you struggle with getting your children to eat healthy and have various challenges in the process. One of the things that has made this all the more difficult, especially in today's time, is just the sheer availability of unhealthy packaged snacks, which is very attractive and which which is something that kids want and fight for day in and day out. So today we have someone very special with us. We will be inviting Shreevibha onto the live to answer your questions about how you can get your kids to snack healthy. So I'm going to welcome her right now. Hi Shri, welcome to today's live.
Hi, Shamla.
So
Really nice to be here.
Shreevibha, sorry.
Really nice to be here.
Yes, we are so happy to have you here with us. And I think this is going to be a very useful session for parents. So, for all those of you who are new here, Shreevibha is the co founder of Sampoorna Ahara, and she takes care of the entire snacks division. So, if you've eaten any of our crunchy snacks and have wondered how she's made it oil free and all the delicious recipes, they're all Shreevibha's brainchild, and she's been really an expert in making unhealthy snacks healthy. Shreevibha is also a mother of two young children, so she knows the struggle that all of you parents are going through, and she has her own experiences with them as well. So this session will be all about answering your questions with Shreevibha's expertise and experience with children and making healthy snacks. So yes, so we'll get started right away. Shri, I think as a parent and as someone who's been on a health journey for so long, just to kickstart the session, you'll agree that in today's world there are so many temptations, especially for children to binge on. So it's just such a wide variety of options that are available, and I think that that's where the first question is also. So when you were growing up, I'm sure you had some favorite childhood snacks versus today with the kind of choices that we have and the easy availability of all of these. Your kids will have their own choices. So can we start off with just talking about your childhood snacks versus what your kids love eating?
Sure, sure. So, it brings me back to a lot of old memories. So, as children, I remember very clearly eating a lot of potato chips, chips and varieties of chips, fried chips, fried bitter gourd chips, potato chips, any variety of chips, primes that used to come in those colored varieties. Never a thought went into on what it is made of. And apart from these, junk fried snacks, what was very common in those days, at least 20 years ago or 20, 30 years ago, was bhajis in the evening, bondas in the evening, masalvadas in the evenings. All of these were all fried snacks, completely fried snacks. And later, as we grew up, I think little 20 years ago, around our 20s or so, it was all these maida loaded snacks, the puffs and buns. And looking back at it, it was loaded with butter and maida and sugar in different forms and combinations. Come forward to today, and we have similar kind of food packaged in multiple and various options, packaged in colorful options. If you look at the ingredients of biscuits, just pick up 2 3 packets of biscuits on the aisle, and you will find the ingredients are almost common with a few changes, and it's almost high on maida, sugar, uh, things that you won't be able to recognize what it is so easily, as a layman. You'll have to dig in to understand the products itself and the ingredients, and you have a whole array in the aisle of all of these snacks today, varieties of chips, and the ingredients that we look at it, you'll know the difference. So it's chips, potato chips in various forms, kurkures, and a lot of things, cheese balls, so many different options with the same similar unhealthy ingredients and very attractive packaging. So definitely, when it comes to kids, it is a huge challenge, no doubt about it. But the and I think that's the whole reason why we are here, right? We, as a mother, I looked into these aisles and I just couldn't pick up and give this to my son. He was quite young and couldn't, I felt that I wasn't giving him enough, and he came back and asked from school, preschool and all, came back and asked for snacks that he wanted to eat and creams and buns and things. So the whole journey started in me starting to experiment at home and making these snacks as healthy as possible and to give it to him. So we started off making little chutneys at home, and that's how the whole journey started. Today, the children have a wide variety of snacks available, and all of them are healthy, completely oil free, and it's been a beautiful journey.
Absolutely, Shri. I think you just hit the nail on the head when you said that, even when maybe 20, 25, 30 years ago, there were unhealthy options in terms of deep fried snacks and things like that. But the kind of options that kids have today is just unbelievable. And as you said, it's all the same ingredients, it's all the same maida, sugar, uh, and milk powder and everything, and processed cheese and all of that. So, and again, the point that you mentioned on packaging, right? And for children, seeing anything with colors and with cartoon characters and all of that on that, it makes it so tempting for them, and it's so difficult. And as a parent, for you to have seen that and been like, oh, this is not what I want to have my children eating, must have been like it must have been a very difficult step for you right at the beginning, because we have so many options, and to recreate that many at home is like daunting for any parent, right?
Definitely, definitely. Do the as a I remember taking Ishan through the shopping malls, but then going through aisles where we'll have to hide and take him through the and so that he doesn't see the sections where it is all these attractive packaging, because he was very young then, unable to. He was 3, 4, so it was quite. All these are very attractive to children. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And them being high in salt, I mean, they're actually addictive even for adults, and for children especially. It's a complete different level, because they can't recognize it as an addiction. They can't stop eating it, and this
Yes.
also comes in the way of them actually eating nutritious food, right? Because you're filling
Exactly.
up on all these snacks and full by the
Yes.
time you actually come down to eating lunch or dinner. Coming, just taking off from what we were talking, the
Yeah.
second question that we get a lot, and I think in different ways, they say, my children don't listen, or they keep they keep asking. After a certain time, I just get fed up and I go with what they want. So I think it is it's a fact that kids are great negotiators. They will be repetitive, and they have more energy than you, so, and time.
Absolutely.
So, and they're very focused on what they want to eat. So they'll
Yes.
wear you down, and oftentimes parents just give up after a point, because how much are you also going to go on
Exactly.
fighting? So how do you deal with that as a parent?
Definitely. So I think before we get to the children itself, it was also the elders at home. So we had issues with all these. After I started eating whole food plant-based diet, we had snacks which were coming in salted, highly salted, fried snacks. I was able to change the entire kitchen and the menu, but the snacks kept coming in, oily snacks, murkus and things. So it started from there, and definitely the children are going to take to what we are eating. So they're going to eat that, and then they're going to like that, and then they're going to be asking that. With respect to children, it's even more difficult because they want what they really want, what they want. So there's no, you can't give them something else and try to make peace. So initially, I remember when Nishan went to school and he was given these cakes and creams for snacks, and he would come back home and wanted these cakes and creams. That's when we started experimenting with carrot cakes and chocolate cakes and etc. At home, it was more to replace the salted, oily murkus, like you mentioned. It's highly, highly salted. So my husband used to eat those salty murkus and snacks, and then when he's getting late at work and he feels hungry, he eats them, and then later goes to bed at night. It's very, very unhealthy. So to have a replacement for all this, I started making or experimenting with making murukus at home, making these cakes and creams that Ishan liked, chocolate creams. So when these options became available, and when the non-healthy options were removed out of the home, and when these options were available, the demand for the oily foods it started slowly reducing. It didn't just go away, but slowly reducing. But whenever the trick is to see what they actually want. They're huge negotiators, and right now, like I said earlier, with the call, he has been behind me on ice creams, and we started making vanilla ice cream. And there was mango ice cream. We made mango ice creams and a lot of ice cream flavors. Right now, she's behind on cone ice cream. She wants to have the ice cream in a particular cone. So how do we get over this? Is to get a baked cone, but unfortunately, in the market that we have is all made with maida, sugar. We know the ingredients that go into making these cones. So right now at it, where we take the help of Sampoorna Ahara team and get to make really delicious, yummy cones, and we can serve beautiful, yummy chocolate ice creams to her. She's eating chocolate ice creams in cups and um, in her own way, where we are trying to give her the ensure that she's eating ice creams, but there is this an effort that needs to go in to make the cone available in a way that it's healthy and give her the cone ice cream. The ice cream is made with dates and cocoa and nut butters, so it's absolutely delicious even by itself. But as a child, she wants it in a cone, and nothing would do except a cone. So right now, the thing is to make a cone available to her and put the same healthy nice creams rather into the phones and give it to her. So that's where I am at as a mother, trying to help my children go through their cravings or desires to eat certain foods in as healthy ways as possible.
That's a great example of what we were talking about. And when this question came up and we said, oh yeah, this happens all the time, and for you to actually give an example that's happening to you right now, I'm sure a lot of parents will relate to that. I also think that it's really nice where you spoke about how, yes, it does take a lot of effort to replicate exactly what they want and make it healthy. And I think that's where having options like Sampoorna Ahara is so important, because you automatically get these options delivered to your doorstep without actually having to put in the kind of effort. And it's a lot of effort and a lot of time, and not all parents can afford that, right? Like, especially in today's world where everyone's working, you're also juggling a million things, and not everyone's also perhaps a very creative or a great cook. So just having options like Sampoorna Ahara, I think it's just such a blessing for parents who are trying to
Absolutely.
get
Even
kids.
myself, I think over a period of time, it's now the children are so used to it, and Ishan look through some. We have snacks around all the time, from the snack unit. Is he wanted to eat some sweet thing, and he picked up the phone and he went directly to Sampoorna Ahara, and he gave me a list of sweets that he wanted to eat for the next 2 weeks. So it makes it so convenient, but this wouldn't have been possible at all before Sampoorna Ahara. We would have to go in and search, or rather find it very difficult to find the sweet that he wants, or make it ourselves at home. With all these other requests, it's definitely, a blessing to have Sampoorna Ahara around.
Absolutely. And if any of you parents who are watching this, you just want options for your kids that are healthy, you can just log on to Sampoorna Ahara. The website is right on the screen. And know that every product that is made there is made by people who truly, truly care about your health, the health of your children. And this is what we eat at home. So it's not that we are giving you something to eat while we are eating something else. So I think the proof is in the pudding, so to speak, in just uh, the way we live our lives. And Sampoorna Ahara is something that has come out of that. And that, I think, is really, really a blessing for a lot of parents. So The next question that I wanted to ask was, we keep hearing about, and we have discussed this in our previous lives as well. Kids will eat what they cook themselves, or involving kids in the cooking process itself. A lot of parents have asked us, and I think some parents have found this useful, getting their children into the kitchen and getting them to do small tasks, getting them to get the hang of making things so that they're involved in the process. While that is true, they will eat what they cook for themselves. Isn't the whole process messy? That is one thing that parents are extremely concerned about, because then you have to clean up the mess after the kids are done cooking. And the other question on the same lines is, don't kids get bored like halfway through the process? Kids also, many of them may not have the attention span to actually make a whole dish. They may start making it, something else distracts them, and they go away. And now, then they're hungry and cranky, and you don't have what they want, and that whole thing comes into play. And the third in the same line is, what if the child is not interested in cooking at all, and no matter what you do, they don't want to really come in, and they don't want to cook? So then how do you get children involved in the process, or how do you make it more appealing for them to eat healthy?
Yeah. I think the focus here should be, when we are talking about snacks or getting kids involved in the process of making the things that they like for themselves. The first thing is to get them involved into the ingredients that's required into what they make. So even simple ingredients, making a chocolate shake in the morning, letting them know what the ingredient is, and the just the date or the chocolate milk or the almond butter that goes into it, and grinding, put it in, and then Iha would be able to make her own chocolate milk by herself. So one is getting the children to understand that ingredients that go into it, and helping, or taking their help in getting those ingredients in place. Like, she wanted strawberry ice cream, so we planned to have strawberries. She's been uh, getting it after a few days so that we can make strawberry. Involving them in the planning processes of these snacks helps them build the interest for the snack in itself. The other thing is, like for Ishan, he is at a stage, he's 9 years old now. He is at a stage where he wants to cook by himself. So we give him, like the other day, he made these millet dosas and red rice dosas for everybody at the house. So for him to learn to make the process of the dosas. There was another time when he came up with a recipe himself for a dumpling. And that dumpling exercise still stays with him. And sometimes now and then he asks, "Can we make the dumpling myself? Can we do it? Can we do a dumpling dinner today?" So yes, it's going to be messy. Yes, it's going to be involving some attention and time of the parents. But it's so worth it when it comes to seeing the children getting involved in knowing the contents of the food, in making the food themselves if they're interested. And once they make it, you should see the amount of joy that goes into when they're serving the food to other people and they eat it themselves. And it's absolutely brilliantly tasty. Okay, the dumpling itself was really tasty. He ensured he put in peanut butter, rice, along with steamed vegetables, and he made a little cashew cream and a tomato. It was definitely, the whole kitchen was a mess, but the dumpling itself was yummy. And I think he still hasn't forgotten the recipe. He has it in mind and he wants to keep doing the recipe. So this is just one example wherein, if a child is interested, definitely it takes their interest in making such kind of snacks to another level when they are given the space and time to do it, irrespective of the mess. The mess, yes, it takes time to clean. But I think I would go ahead and afford in time and effort in clearing the mess than buying them something very quickly, instantly from outside, wherein they don't even know what they're eating and they eat it. And then we have to spend the time and effort in addressing the issues that come later on after they eat it. We absolutely understand the kind of unhealthy snacks that are available around, and they're very instantly and quickly available. So the choice to the parents is to allow the children to develop a sense of health by experimenting with these choices, allowing them to make the mistakes, allowing them to create the mess, being with them for those few hours. It may take 3 or 2, 3 hours of an evening, but that itself will help him make or understand food better, and his connection to food much better. So what if there are cases where children are not interested in making, they don't want to. If they leave it half the way, that's okay. At least they made the dumplings for themselves. Actually, when Ishan made the dumpling, I remember he made the dumpling for his sister, he made the dumpling for himself, but he was so tired and hungry by then that he didn't want to make the dumpling for anybody else. He said, "Let me go eat and come." And then it got late. I told him, "It's okay. You go and eat, and I'll make the dumpling myself for the rest of them." In fact, we had the whole dinner was a dumpling dinner that evening. But that whole evening, the amount of the sense of achievement, or that I could see in him, that he made a snack or evening dinner by himself with his own recipes and his own effort. It was a beautiful feeling for him and for me. My daughter is quite young, and even if for children, she's definitely not able to do these things by herself, or there are children where they don't want to do by themselves. In such cases, what I think is, getting them options available, making these options available. There are, for instances, our neighbors' children who come in here, they eat our pizzas and they love the pizzas. And these karanjis, these small baked uh, snack that we make here, they absolutely love it. The chocolate karanjis, and if you send them a 400-gram the box, they send a picture of the box with one karanji left, because they absolutely love. These are children that are used to eating oily snacks day in and day out. So for children who are unable to enjoy the process of making or cooking, and they're not interested in, definitely providing them with healthier options is much better than going in for quick fixes. You buy, and with Sampoorna Ahara around, it's as quick as buying a an unhealthy snack. You order it and it gets door delivered. So there are options available today, and it's about the parents to see which ones are really healthy for the child, and ensure or enable the child to make these options themselves, or enable having these options at home, so that children are not tempted to eating the unhealthy snacks which all of us know about.
Thank you, Sri. That was really detailed. I think you hit upon each of these points with so much clarity and actually went into detail. I think that will be really helpful for parents who are watching this and who perhaps have asked these questions. And as you rightly said, yes, it is messy, but at the end of the day, it is worth it, because the larger goal of understanding what you're eating and actually connecting to the food and getting healthy is something that's absolutely unmatched. So thank you for that. And if parents are looking for healthy recipes that you want to make with your kids, you can head over to nutritionscience.in. We have over 200 whole food plant-based recipes. If you sign up for our free masterclass, so we have several courses and masterclasses on nutritionscience.in, and we have a free one, a plant-based kickstart and recipes course, and there you can find many of the recipes that we have spoken about today. We have everything from cheesecakes to Christmas cakes to rice-based items to parfaits, things that are colorful and things that kids really crave and want to eat. I think that can be a good starting point for parents in case you're looking for recipes that you want to make with your children. And as Shreevibha, as you rightly said, also involving them and just helping you get the ingredients can be the first step. So it can be in a very paced manner. So it doesn't have to be that expecting them to actually come in full on and start doing things right off the bat, but just getting in the ingredients, mixing, and then slowly developing their own curiosity and interest to a point where, like you're saying, Ishan actually has his own recipes for dumplings, which is unbelievable, right? That he's made, and that too completely whole food, plant based. So yeah, that's really good. And yes, I think that can be a good place for parents to start. So another question that people ask is how can you make these snacks without oil? What do you use instead? We've actually had people asking us if you use ghee to fry them, or what is it that you do, because it's so unbelievable that you have traditionally deep fried snacks which we associate with festivities, the murk, the kodbele, and all of that, without oil. And when they hear that it's vegan also and it's not deep fried, there's that curiosity. So uh, when you were when you had to get to making these things for your kids, what are some of the tips and tricks that you use to make these goodies oil
True.
free.
I remember when you said that, I remember this instance where after we made one of these snacks, and when we packaged it and sent it across, the paper was, leaving the instances of oil. I mean, it was showing up the oil from the snack, and the person who got it couldn't believe that it was, he couldn't trust that it was not containing oil because there was so much oil on the paper left, no oil marks on the paper left. So it's basically from whole nut butter. So we use a lot of whole nut butters like peanut butter, and if they're allergic to peanut, we use seed butters like sunflower seed butters to make these snacks. So it's like instead of making the flour, the regular flour murukku that you make for your regular fried, uh, murukus to make, instead of uh, deep frying them in oil, what we do is, even in the ingredients, we do not use oil to make the ingredients. Instead, we use whole nut butters. So what happens is, there's all the fiber, the good fiber from the peanuts in the flour itself, along with the oil content that comes in from the peanuts that I used to make the peanut butter. So the flour itself, after you make it and mix it, when you touch it, you will feel, it's oily in your hands. But then it doesn't have refined oils in it. It has whole 100% whole peanut butter or nut butters or seed butters in it, which gives the effect of, the greasy, oily hands. But it's it's absolutely healthy because it's having the entire fiber intact. When we use this flour, and instead of deep frying these snacks, what we do is instead lay it or extrude them onto trays and bake them at very low temperatures, so that you do not have it does not burn out, or you don't have the browned snacks, which we understand could be carcinogenic. So our entire intent in making these snacks available is to ensure the ingredients that grow into these snacks are completely whole plant based, which means they don't have white rice, or it doesn't have refined products completely without any oil at all. Instead, substituting with any of these seed or nut butters and baking them, you will have absolutely crunchy and yummy snacks without all the ill effects of the oil, when you choose to have fried snacks.
It's just when you understand nutrition and when you understand how these things work, it just makes life so much better. And when you were talking about nut butters and seed butters, I was just thinking of how all of these nuts and seeds have a lot of oil in them, but they come packaged with all the goodness, so you can actually enjoy your snacks, your sweets, your goodies, whatever it is that you're looking for, while still not compromising on your health and actually getting healthier in the process. And I think that's the beauty of it all. And moving on to the next question, which is, again, taking off from this one, a lot of people also say, when you're eating snacks or when you're eating these kind of things, you're eating it for taste. You don't really want to think about health at that time. And the reason I'm bringing up the question along with the previous one is, you were talking about the nutritional benefits of each of these snacks. You said we don't use white rice, we don't use maida, rava, semia, none of the processed grains. We don't use any processed sugar in any of these snacks that cause a blood sugar spike. It's mostly date sweetened. So when we're looking at these things and the ingredients that go into it, like the nut butters, the seed butters, the whole grains, it's actually nutritious. And why should you then compromise, right? Like, why should you then have to choose between one or the other? And I think that's where the next question comes, and I want to hear what you have to say about this. When people say this, like, who wants to think about health when you're snacking and things like that?
Yeah. So let me give you an example. My nephew, he's used to a regular Indian diet. He's in fact a non-vegetarian, eats oily food. But when he comes here, masala vada crackers that we have here, absolutely without a drop of oil, he enjoys them thoroughly. Absolutely enjoys them thoroughly. Why does he enjoy it? Is it healthy that he enjoys it? It's because he absolutely loves the taste of it. he enjoys it because he likes it and the taste, and he's a very spice liking person. And masala vada crackers are just crackers, they're very spicy and absolutely tasty. And the the crunch that comes out of biting a cracker, the masala vadas, you similar masala vadas but in thin cracker formats. So what are we looking for when we are wanting to eat any snack? We forget the health and part of it. What are we looking for when we eat snacks? We would like taste, and if it's healthy, definitely even more better. All of us would agree about it. So if that is the if that is the goal, then trying to make or replace any of these fried snacks, we can replace them with healthy ingredients. Like I said, use nut butters and bake them instead of frying them in oil. And if the taste is taken care of, anybody would enjoy it. So you don't have to be bothered whether it is, if it's healthy, would it be tasty? If we take care of the taste aspect of it, like we do at every product that we make, we ensure that it's as tasty and enjoyable. Like you mentioned, the karanjis, they are completely date sweetened. The matris, we don't fry the matris, but instead we have a layer of kubri that goes in. So the taste of the kubri along with the crunch, it's absolutely tasty. And with all the taste comes the added benefit of health. So why not choose products that are absolutely tasty and get the benefits of good health too?
Well said, Shri. Well said. I think when we look at it, instead of saying, "Oh, who thinks about health when you're thinking about snacks," to say, "Yeah, you don't have to because you can now get both." Why compromise on health when you can get health and when you can get something delicious? And uh, as you rightly said, a majority of people who buy these snacks and who eat these snacks, they're perhaps not, for whole food plant based, or they're not someone who's looking for it just because it's healthy. They enjoy the taste of it. They enjoy that they're able to enjoy these snacks without compromising on health. And I think that is just so important. And
I should
on the
also
same,
add to this. Sorry, just cutting you
huh,
short. I should also add to this. I've also found this that once the children adapt to eating such kind of snacks, Ishan now, when he eats regular snacks at any friend's place, he would come back and say, "Amma, that's been really salty." So the
mm,
ability to pick up, this is definitely not. I don't see this with children who are not used to this whole food plant based because their tongues are not sensitive enough. They just used to the high levels of salt that it doesn't appear as salty. So, but when you are introduced to such kind of food, and then when you go back to eating something, you're able to immediately identify what's how it's hitting you hard immediately.
it actually becomes less enjoyable because it's too salty. It's not something that's
Yes,
enjoyable anymore. And it's so beautiful. So
absolutely.
it's not like you're avoiding something because it's
Correct.
unhealthy. You're avoiding it because you don't like the taste of it anymore.
Exactly.
And that's just such an amazing place to be. And I think your example goes into my next question, which is, my family says I shouldn't put my kids on a diet. They should enjoy life, what should I tell them? And I think you partially answered this question with just this example that you gave about Ishan actually preferring whole food plant based snacks. And a lot of this also comes from a lack of awareness that what children eat between ages of 0 to 10 is so important, and it actually determines their health for the rest of their lives. It's not as if, oh, give children the junk that you want today and they can start eating healthier when they're older. So I think there's so much uh, there are so many myths, and there's people don't even think. When you think of kids, you're not thinking, okay, I should give them healthy or what. You're just loading them with salt and sugar and magically expect them to be healthy adults.
Healthy.
So what do you have to say about this, Shri?
That's the best one. I think no, I for me any question just brings up examples and instances that have happened in. So like I said, when Inshan goes to different birthday parties himself, he's been educated. He's been told about the foods. He understands the food, but the choice remains with him. I told him if you would like to eat, then you eat it and you see. But then most often he falls sick and he prefers not to eat it, but sometimes he does eat it, and then he comes back complaining about the taste and how it was. Sometimes he does come back saying it is nice. Why don't you make it whole food plant based next time? So there are different, it opens up a world for you. When this question is put to me, when aren't you, why are you not enjoying life? Just go ahead, live your life, eat everything that you can. Why do you have to diet or make your children diet? I think it's the perspective from which you're looking at. If we think as parents or even as for ourselves, we just want to eat what's available and let our bodies go through it and then end up with diseases that we know are being caused because of the foods that we eat. This is at one level. Or we look at options wherein we make regular eating like a feast every day, which is what is happening right now. I would even rather, my perspective right now is what is the other way around. Regularly, if I would have not been on a whole food plant based diet, I would have morning made idlis and then lunch. This was our regular food. I am not saying I would have. This is how we were eating. Mornings were idlis, nights were dosas or idlis or idiyappams, or then afternoon was rice with sambar and one curry and one rasam. This is it. Now, when you look at the food, I don't feel like I'm dieting. Instead, rather, I feel there is morning we have smoothies with greens and nut butters. This would have been replaced easily with would have been, instead, it would have been a tumbler of milk and done. And sometimes I even see, even now, people having a tumbler of milk and few biscuits. Look at the variation. What is a diet? Are we even, this is like a feast every day. Morning, there's smoothies and greens and fruits, and afternoons we have salads with nuts and seeds and different varieties of vegetables that go in, and then we have lunch with varieties of rices and millets and sambars and vegetables and different nut butters adding to the gravies. Earlier it would have just been some milk cream or just one cream if it was some tofu. I think the range of ingredients that it has opened up on a whole food plant based diet is, in terms of even vegetables, fruits and nuts and seeds and grains, is much wider than a regular food. So I really don't think this is dieting. This is even more wider, and that was much restricted and limited, because eating that itself will keep us full and you don't want to eat anything further. But here you eat a smoothie by 11, you're hungry, and then you're looking to eat what, and then you have a salad, and then you have a whole plant-based meal, keeps you full for another 3 4 hours, 5 hours, and then you're again hungry. Rather a meat earlier, or a, a regular Indian food will keep you full for hours because it doesn't digest that faster. So, what is the diet that we are in? This is like variety and abundance. So, in my perspective today, I feel this is not diet. This is like a feast every day.
So true. When we talk about whole food plant based, or when we talk about oil free or vegan, people often are like, oh, so sad. The children don't get to enjoy life, or you're restricting them. I think a lot of, again, this comes from a lack of awareness about what is it that you're talking about. Imagine you can actually eat murukku kodbale every day with lunch and dinner and still be healthy. As you said, with breakfast, it's usually just a white rice idli or like upma or something that's very basic. And here you actually have more ingredients. There's literally more variety. There are more flavors. It's something that you enjoy eating. It's actually, the question should actually be asked to people who are not giving children this kind of variety. Why are you not giving children the kind of variety that you should be, instead of it being asked here? And each of these foods, as you rightly said, also they're packed with nutrition. So they're so
Absolutely.
nutrient dense, high levels of antioxidants, phytochemicals, macro and micronutrients as well. So your vitamins, minerals, your carbs, protein, fats, you get everything in when you eat a well balanced whole food plant based diet. And there are no wasted calories. There are no empty calories or harmful calories where you're just eating something and then feeling tired and lethargic, because those calories haven't given the body the nutrition that it needs to function at a high level. So that's a very, just giving the example of the things that you eat on a day-to-day basis, I'm sure people must already be hungry listening to you, like, oh, I want to eat this now. So just And this leads me to the last question of the session. If you can give one recipe for easy recipe that parents, okay, they say, okay, we look, watch this live and we want to try something that's simple, that's straightforward, that our kids will enjoy. What has been your experience with your own kids? One recipe or your first recipe that your children have enjoyed that's a healthy snack?
I think this for a snack, it's definitely a chaat. This is just not for my children. My children, they're used to a lot of variety with Sampoorna Ahara around. They're like spoiled with whole food plant-based varieties each day in and out. But when there is other children coming at home, I usually do one things which are tasty, which they would enjoy, which they would want to make themselves, getting them involved. So what we did for one of Ishan's birthday last was having chart items available. So one very simple recipe that we can have kids involved, making them getting involved in ingredients is if you have a shredder or thing, get them into shredding the vegetables, for a little bit of onions or capsicums and um, boil some channa and tomatoes, cut them, sliced tomatoes, corianders, kotamari. Make the chaat that you would make regularly. You can substitute regular curds with peanut curd. Just mix in a little bit of dates paste with it to make it a little sweet and add some chili powder. You have the sweet and spicy dahi and uh, get the save. We have masala save that's been made at the snack unit. Absolutely no oil at all, made with completely peanut butter. That all that kept in different cups, and then the children come in and they make their own chaat masala. So there are a few children who don't want dahi. There are a few children who want spicy. So we have this mint, imli chutney that's made, tomato imli chutney, and the imli chutney is made with amla. You should note that. So, so you can just play around with the ingredients and give them the products and then have them arrange. That gives in a lot of fun. And there were children who were at the counter post the dinner. They were there at the chart counter having their third, fourth, fifth serving. And one boy came back and said, "Auntie, I think I'm done with. I don't need anything. I'm just there next to the chart counter eating the chart for the whole party today." So, children, very easy ingredients. You can have that made available so that children can put them together, make it themselves, and enjoy it. So, one simple recipe that we've tried at home that's always worked with children is charts. Ensure that they have the ingredients made as healthy as possible. Get them to play around with it, and it's going to be absolutely tasty as well. So they really enjoy it.
Wonderful. I think, yeah, who doesn't like chaat? And if you can have chaat for an entire meal and still be healthy, there's nothing like it. And like you said, you get to also sneak in a lot of, healthy foods that children or even adults for that matter don't really enjoy. For
Yeah.
example, the chutney. No one would even know. They'd not even
No.
guess that there's amla in it. And it's such a great way of
Yeah.
including these specific healthy foods in your diet through these
Yeah.
fun recipes. And I think on Sampoorna Ahara, you can find things that will make your home chart uh, journey very easy. We have Save, and I mean, there are just so many products that are completely oil free. So you don't have to make them from scratch. You can focus on making the vegetables and the chutney and actually get these other goodies from the website itself. Do you want to tell us a few, like 3 or 4 chart related products that
Sure,
people can
sure.
pick up from the website?
So we have these masala saves. So after you make the chaat, you can just sprinkle the masala saves on top. So if you want to make papdi chaat, you can. We have these papdis, or you can even have these matris crushed into it. So they have these kupri, and it makes it very flavorful. So we have these masala roasted peanuts. So if you want to add some peanuts onto the chaat, also we have all of these products are made without any oil, as no refined products. So whatever ingredients go into it would be basin or red rice or the healthiest ingredients and whole nut butters. So just buy them, make your base ingredients, have these available so that the children can put together and enjoy their chutney.
Yeah, that's it's just so easy to then make it when you have this kind of help. Also, just last weekend we had a chart meal from Sampoorna Ahara with the goodies that Shri is talking about. So it had the save and the papdi and everything. along with pav buns and bhaji and everything. So you can also keep an eye out in case you say, you know what, I don't want to make this meal, but I still want to eat it. Just keep an eye out. We'll be announcing special meals that are fun like these that you and your family can enjoy. And once again, if you are looking at making these recipes with your children or for your children, nutritionscience.in has the resources and the recipes for it. You can log on, you can sign up for the free plant-based kickstart and recipes course, and you can get access to over 200 whole food plant-based recipes. Yes, I think with that we come to the end of today's session. I think we've had a lot of useful tips and tricks and so many little instances and incidents that people also can relate to, because I'm sure these things are happening to them. I'm sure these things are happening in their families and in their lives, and to show that these are normal circumstances, these happen to everyone, and how you can actually deal with them and what you can make out of them. Thank you so much, Shri, for joining us and sharing your experience and expertise. I'm sure parents are going to find this session extremely useful. And yes, I think with that we come to the end of today's session.
Wonderful. It's always been a pleasure to share this journey of mine with everyone.
Wonderful. Okay, everyone, see you in the next live from Sampoorna Ahara. You can subscribe to our channel and you can stay in touch. And if you have any ideas or videos that you want us to make, do leave them in the comments, and we're happy to make it for you. With that, I'll be signing off.